Today is Monday, July. Sorry, I thought June for a second. July 28th, 2025, and this is Flosstube number 18. So if you just stumbled upon me, welcome to my little corner of YouTube. Welcome to my stitching loft, actually, where I'm filming from today. This is a channel all about my cross stitch and my hiking and whatever else I just feel like talking about. So if you like what you see, please hit the like and subscribe button, and leave a comment below and tell me all the cool things you're stitching on or want to talk about. So July was a busy month for me. I started off on vacation, and I'm actually leaving on vacation again tomorrow. So it has been quite the journey. So I have 3 finishes to show you. I have 1 new start. I have several whips. I have several pieces of haul. And I did Frogwarts, so I'm going to talk about Frogwarts. So let's talk about how July started off. So at the beginning of July, end of June, beginning of July, we took a trip from New York City up to Newport, Rhode Island, to Boston, and then to Halifax, Nova Scotia, and back on the Queen Mary 2, which is admittedly the only boat I've ever been on, but she's a beauty. And so I was so glad to get back on her after doing a transatlantic cruise on her in September of last year. So it was really nice to be able to spend some time with my favorite boat on a British boat in America, and we spent the 4th of July in Boston Harbor. So I will insert a video here of what I did. And look what British tea from a British ship. Take that, King George. As you can tell, they didn't arrest me. So that was one of the many cool things I got to do. But another cool thing that I got to do was sit and stitch in the Corinthia Lounge, which is probably my favorite place on the boat. And they have a corner called Hobby Corner. Now, in September, that's where I got to meet my friend Nancy and Jean, who are all stitchers, and we spent our time in the Corinthia Lounge in September. Well, this time I got to hang out with Linda and Pat and Sarah and Marcia, and I'm pretty sure I'm forgetting a few other people. Sorry. Spending a lot of time there. We played a lot of trivia together, and we did a lot of stitching. And Pat is working on a beautiful, beautiful full coverage piece of London from Artisty Cross Stitch. So you can check that picture out here that I took of her. So I just want to give a special shout out to all of my stitchy friends from the Corinthia Lounge. They are all back in England now, but I'm hoping to be able to catch up with them when I go over there in December. So that'll be fun. So I had a lot of fun there, and I got a finish on the boat. So let me show you my finish. So this is Pretty Little London from Satsuma Street, and this was a special finish for me because I started this on the train ride to New York last September. No, sorry, the train to Boston. I've been everywhere. I can keep track of where I'm going. So I started this on the train to Boston last September, and we flew from Boston to London and took the Queen Mary 2 home. And so the goal was to start it on the train and finish it on the Queen Mary too on the way home. Well, I didn't quite get it finished on the boat, but when I realized that we were going back on the Queen Mary, I said, I absolutely have to finish this. So I did a lot of stitching, and I did not write down my stitch totals, but here is my finish. So I'll hold it up a little bit closer. This is stitched on a 16 count Aida using all the called for DMC colors. And this will fit nicely in a 10-inch hoop, or I'm looking at possibly getting it framed, because I also have the Pretty Little New York and Pretty Little Washington, D.C. in my stash to stitch. So those will be coming at some point. But this, I was super happy to finish it on the boat, where I did most of the stitching. So this was great. So Pretty Little London from Satsuma Street. And a quick side note, I realized that this video quality is not going to be as good as it's been because I have to film off my laptop this week. When I filmed my last couple floss tubes on my phone, even though I thought I had moved the video off of my phone and off my iCloud account, I didn't, and so I am out of iCloud storage space right now. So I'm filming it using my laptop, which I have a ton of space on. So I'm working on getting some things situated for that. So just wanted to let you know in case you're like, oh, the video quality is not as great, or I can't see as much. Tis what it is. The life of a fledgling Flosstuber. So anyhow, let's go. Since I've talked, I just showed you my first finish. Let me show you my second finish. So this finish was during the Frogwarts retreat, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit. But this piece I started in January of this year when my friends Keisha and Laura were also starting this. And they were stitching it using 25 stitches a day starting January 1st. So I jumped in a little bit later and was doing kind of a strand a day. But we did the calculations and realized that if we stayed on track, we should finish it on July 14th. So Laura and I texted each other and said, are you finished? Are you close? Are you close? So we said we were going to finish together. So we put in the last few stitches together. So she and I finished pretty much at the exact same time. So this is Society Stitcher from Katie Landis of the Black Needle Society. And this is available as a free pattern on their Facebook group. So here she is. The only modification I made was I changed 2020 to 2025 because that's the year I finally stitched this. But this is stitched on a 14 count Aida. I have no idea. It was just something I grabbed out of a freebie pile. Using all the called for DMC colors. And this was an absolute joy to stitch. And the fact that, stitching it, I felt like I was kind of, I wouldn't say in communion with Laura and Keisha, but it was nice knowing that I wasn't the only one working on it. And it was an easy piece to do. I tended to try to do a strand a day, and oftentimes I would not get that in, but I could sit down and knock out 50, 100, 200 stitches quite easily because it actually is a really fast stitch. So if you are a member of the Black Needle Society group on Facebook, go into the files section and you can find that pattern to stitch as well. Katie put it up there as a free pattern for all of us people in BNS. And the last finish I had for the month is actually another very special one. This is Welcome Little Stranger from Lindy Stitches. And this, I wouldn't say has been kind of that monkey on my back. So backstory on this piece. When my sister found out she was pregnant with my third nephew, I said, well, of course I'm going to stitch him something. I stitched Colton something. So we went to In Stitches in Alexandria, Virginia, which is right near where she lives. And I said, pick something out. You pick it out, I'll stitch it. So she picked this one out, but then asked me to make some changes to it because she didn't like the colors. And so she said, can you make it darker? And I said, sure. Well, my brain doesn't do color conversions well. I tend to be if this is what's called for, that's what I'm going to do. So making a whole scale color conversion and remembering it. Oh, there's Bo. Sorry, random appearance by Bo. My ADD kicked in. So I stitch it, and it seemed like every time I sat down to stitch, it would be like stitch 5, rip 10, stitch 5, rip 10. And so switching up the colors, switching up the things I wanted to do, and then deciding I wasn't going to do the border. So it just kind of became one of those things where I avoided it because I didn't really want to do it. Not because I don't love my nephew or love my sister, but because it's not my style of stitching. So finally I realized I was super close and I just buckled down. Hi, Bo. Bo, you gonna help me show off Welcome Little Stranger? Say hi to Flosstube. Say hi, Chloe. Hi, Pumpkin. Hi, all my friends. He has a vet appointment at the end of August, so we'll, yeah. Okay. Really? Can I finish now? Anyhow, so let me show off Welcome Little Stranger while Bo helps me. So this is the finish. I am super pleased with how this turned out now that I'm done with it. I outlined, I stitched this on a 14 count Aida from Joann, so it's a tan. And I did the color conversion to a much darker color palette. And the only thing I decided not to do was the border because, quite frankly, I probably would have never finished it. So I got it all done and personalized, and it's going to be off to the framer when I get home from Kansas City. I feel pretty comfortable showing this because I'm 99.99% certain my sister doesn't watch my Flosstube. But she knows it's coming, so she has not seen the final product yet, and she won't until I deliver it. So I'm glad to have this done, considering that Cal is now 2.5. So this was very much a long time in the making, and there's my dog. So in case I have a footrest now, or backrest now. So those were my finishes. It's been a while since I've had one finish a month, let alone 3 in a month. So I'm hoping that I can keep that momentum going, because as much as I love starting things, it sometimes is nice to finish things so I can repurpose the project bags. All right, so let's talk. Let's do haul. I'm gonna go into some of my haul, not all of it, because some of it, my Frogwarts haul, I'm gonna pull out during Frogwarts. So I had quite a bit of haul at random spots, so I'm just gonna kind of go through and let you know. So yesterday was the monthly Old House stitching group with my friends at Old House Winery here in Culpeper, Virginia. And we've decided that we're going to make it the 4th Sunday of every month. So that way it's something we all can plan on. If you live in the Central Virginia area or Northern Virginia or are visiting the area and want to come hang out and say hi, the next one will be August 24th and then every 4th Sunday from here on out. So with that being said, we always bring our stash unloads to each other. And so this is one that I picked up. So this, my friend CJ, sorry about that. The life of filming in a house with other people, they kind of swing on by. So anyhow, as I was saying, some people bring by things at the stitching day. So I actually picked up one pattern. I have to look at my thing. One pattern from that this month. And I have something else to show you from there. So the one that I picked up was from my friend CJ, the Griffin Stitcher, and this is Silver Creek Samplers, Fred's unifying question, won't you be my neighbor? And so I love this because it is Mr. Rogers, it is sheep, it's Silver Creek Samplers, it's all the things I love about this. So thank you, CJ, for being willing to part with this. So that's going to be one piece that's going in my stash. And then a shout out to my friend Emily, the pop-up stitcher. There's 3 Emilys in our group, but Emily, the pop-up stitcher, just started a Flosstube, but she's on Etsy and makes project bags. So I finally had been hemming and hawing about getting some of her things. until I saw this one. And so I'm going to show you, I had to take this one out to show you separately. So this is a project bag from the Pop-Up Stitcher. It is Coffees and Chocolate Labs. It is absolutely adorable. So I knew I had to support my friend. I had to get a project bag with dogs on it. And she also tossed in, unbeknownst to me, she does these things called Thread Besties. So there's her logo. And so when she picks fabric, she makes as many project bags as she can, and then she makes the Thread Besties with the leftovers, so she doesn't waste any fabric. But once she has the fabric, when she uses it, she's not buying it again. So this in here has felt to be able to keep your floss. It's got, does it have pockets? I thought it had, nope, maybe I'm wrong. It's got a zipper for your scissors, my bad. And because she knows that I'm a Harry Potter fan, it has the Harry Potter stuff on it. So Emily, you absolutely rock. Thank you. So if you have not found her on Etsy, please go to Etsy and look for the Pop-Up Stitcher and buy all her project bags. She is amazing. So I'm going to stick that back in here so I don't lose it. But it's a very good quality, sturdy project bag. So then, let's see, another piece of haul I got. 2 pieces of haul related to my trip. So one of the stops we made on our cruise was in Halifax, and I had never been there. And so I absolutely love that city. So if you ever get a chance to go to Halifax, go. I did take a wander off the beaten path because I was told that there was cross stitch in a fabric shop, and sadly not really. But there was a Scottish gift shop literally right next to, right in the cruise terminal. So not, when you get off the boat in Halifax, I feel like you get off the boat and walk into the gift shop. There's so many different vendors there selling souvenirs. But then once you leave the terminal and literally go up the street, the next storefront is billed as like the largest Scottish gift shop in Nova Scotia or Canada, whatever. So it's full of kilts, it's full of fabric, it's different things. So I went in and I was so happy to find cross stitch. There wasn't a lot, but they did have hoops. And one of my friends from the stitching corner, the hobby corner on the boat, had forgotten her hoop back in England. So she was stitching in hand. So I bought her a hoop, and then when I got back on the boat later, she'd also found the shop and bought a hoop. So yay, we got the hoop situation sorted. But I saw this and I had to. It's a Highland Cow bookmark. And it's a full kit. So I've got everything I need to make it and finish it off. But oh my gosh. Those are adorable. Look at those cows. And so the other thing that I bought related to my trip is a pattern. So on my trip in September when I was on the Queen Mary 2, I saw a lady stitching this. And then on my trip at the beginning of the month, I saw a lady stitching on this. I didn't see her again, so I don't think she was part of our hobby corner crew of people. But I said, okay, I know I'm going on this boat again in July because I'm going to be going over in July next year. So I said, well, this time I'm going to buy the pattern and I'm going to be working on it. So here is the Queen Mary. This is the chart only. I found this on eBay, and I am going to work to get this charted into Pattern Keeper. It is on 14 count. It measures 8.5 or 8 by 11.5. So it's fairly small as full coverage goes. I'm probably going to stitch it on 16 or 18 count, but that is the original Queen Mary. So that's going to be my stitching for when I'm back on the Queen Mary 2 next year. All right, let's see. So much haul. I actually have quite a bit of haul. So then I got my snail pattern from the Black Needle Society. So every couple of months they send a new pattern with the threads to stitch it. So all I need to do is provide the fabric. And so this month, let me see if I've got a picture of it. Oh, don't tell me I left. There it is. So this is the strawberry snail because June was... there we go. So June is National Strawberry Month. So I have the strawberry snail now in my collection. And we got a recipe for strawberry rhubarb loaf. Definitely trying that when I get home. So I got that as part of my haul. And let's see what else. My local needle shop had a craft swap, or yarn shop. So this was their first annual craft sale, craft swap. And so I went and picked up a lot of yarn for my friend Lisa. But then they also had some, I dropped off a lot of my cross stitch, but then somebody else had dropped off a lot of cross stitch too. So I was able to pick up this book of colonial Virginia patterns. See? So living in Virginia now, I figured I need to embrace where I live. And so there are, let's see. So you've got the Rotunda at the University of Virginia in Charlottesville. You have Old St. Luke's in Smithfield. You've got some generic colonial looking things. And then you have the Wren Building of the College of William and Mary in Williamsburg, the Governor's Palace in Williamsburg, the Capitol Building in Williamsburg, and the Bruton Parish Church in Williamsburg. So that's what they all look like. So I added that in. And then my local shop, where I do sit and stitch, it's a needlepoint shop, but they've started carrying lots of cool things. So the first thing that they're trying to get rid of their needle necessities. So I picked up all of these. Here, I'm just gonna, I feel like, cha-ching. I picked up all of these from Needle Necessities for like $1 a skein. So I've got some purple, gray, cream, and then I got some silk lame braid for $1. Some white shininess. Oh, the lights. There you go. And then they have recently started carrying the entire Threadworks line. So I finally was able to find Mardi Gras. So I don't know if you can, there you go. So Mardi Gras. And that's going to go with my Ink Circles Reflections of New Orleans piece. So this will be a start. I don't know when, but I've got the floss for it now. So I was very happy to just get some extra skeins of floss for cheap. This month is very, very haul heavy. You notice that? So okay, there's the rest of this is Frogwarts, but I do have to make a special shout out for this one. This is the piece of haul that probably means the most to me. So as many of you know, back in April, my mom passed away, and when I went up there to help start to clean out, my mom saved everything. Some might call her a hoarder, some might call her a curator, but I found some fabric, and I found some curtains, and my dad was just like, I don't know what to do with it, throw it away, give it away, and I said, I think I know, I have an idea. So I brought it all back, and I took it to my Sunday stitching, and I first asked Emily, the pop-up stitcher, if she could do some bags for me, but she already had plans and respectfully declined. But then my friend Virginia, who also is in their group, said, I make bags. I'm like, she does. She makes bags for fun. So I said, well, here, let me give you everything and see what you can do with it. And so when I saw her yesterday, she handed me this. And in there, so let me, so I have several project bags. This is the fabric my mom had bought because she was going to learn how to make curtains for her place in Florida. And mom's favorite color was yellow, and flip-flops were her favorite thing to symbolize her love of Florida and relaxation life. So I got 2, 3. I still have at least 4 of these. And that's after handing some out to my friends at the Old House group. So I got to figure out what I'm going to do with all these. So maybe there'll be a giveaway at some point. Be on the lookout for a future video. So I got these. And then I went, oh my gosh, if she did that with just the random fabric, let me adjust here for a second. I said, well, what about the curtains? Well, y'all, this is where I started crying, or I wanted to. My mom had saved the curtains from my very first nursery. Now, granted, I'm 42 years old, so keep that in mind. But my mom had saved, sorry, adjusting. My mom had saved the curtains from the nursery that I was in. And y'all, I now have Winnie the Pooh project bags. And so Virginia was able to get 3 of, I've got 3 of these right now. So I'm saving one for me and sending one to my dad and one to my sister. But it was so neat to see something that my mom had saved that honestly we were just like, we're just going to trash, you know, like, or just give away. And I said, wait, hold up. Let me just see if I can do something with them. I'm like, I didn't know if you could take curtains and do whatever. So I now have Winnie the Pooh project bags from my nursery curtains, y'all. Virginia, you're amazing. And then I also had given her the curtains to my childhood bedroom. So as a child of the 80s, when I finally had my first grown-up bed, big girl bed, whatever, these curtains lived in my room. So now I have Popple's project bags. Those of you who grew up in the 80s would understand. And so I was able to get 2 or 3 of these. Look at them. And I actually have the pink Popple still somewhere, the stuffed animal. But these were literally my curtains that hung in my bedroom from the time I was about 4 till the time I was 11. So, Virginia, words can't express how much this means to me. To be able to take something that, first of all, I didn't even know that these curtains still existed. I thought that they had been donated or ragged out a long time ago. So to first of all, find them, and then being able to do something with them that I will be using all the time. So Virginia made me all of these, and the only payment she requested was 1 of each. So she has, I gave her first pick of all the project bags. So thank you so much. So now I've got a little piece of my mom and a piece of my childhood with me. And you better believe these are going to get put to good use. So be on the lookout. I have to wait and see what my dad and my sister want to do with some of those. But those may be a giveaway in the future. Maybe. Don't quote me on that. Alright, and so the rest of the haul that I got for the month has to do with Frogwarts. So Frogwarts, for those of you who don't know, is an annual retreat. It's online, hosted by the Black Needle Society, and this was year 6. So this was the first year I did not compete in it after winning the whole thing last year. And so it was a very, very different vibe for me and much more relaxed, and I still had a ton of fun. But I did not do a full unboxing of the Frogwarts video because just everything got crazy. So I want to show you some of the highlights of the haul that I got from the box. This is not everything that was in the box, but there are several other videos that if you Google Frogwarts Year 6 unboxing, you can see the full box. But first thing we got was a retreat mat. So this shows like the portraits that are in Hogwarts, but it's got these clips here to clip your floss. It's got stuff for your thread. It's got pockets, and then it folds up, and it's held together by magnets, which double as needle minders. And then it all ties together, so you literally can wrap your project in this and take it with you. So this is going to be certainly going with me to, well, I have one retreat bag. So this may be going with me to Kansas City, or this may be going in my backup retreat bag. But, so I love the fabric on this one. And this is from, I can tell you who did it because I have the spoiler card from Frogwarts Year 6. So the project bag, or sorry, the retreat mat This is actually artwork from Karen Leopold. And so these are actually the headmaster's office. So these are all the former headmasters of Hogwarts in there. So that was from artwork by Karen Leopold. And then we got a project bag because, of course, who doesn't love project bags? So this is Luna's Spectra Specs project bag. And the artwork from this one is Kiko Illustrator. So just a good sized project bag for whatever. And Bo is coming back. Hi. So my ADD just kicked in again. So we always seem to get a project bag in the boxes. And so again, one can never have too many project bags. Right, Bo? As he's like, what the heck are you doing? Bo, you gonna say hi to everybody? Say hi to all the friends. Hi. Hi, friends again. You want to hold this up? No? Give me, all right, I'm gonna hold my hand. For those of you who don't know, this is my dog, Bo. Bo is 12 years old. He is part lab, part Weimaraner, although some people think that he could be a German Shorthair. But we call him, he's, just brown dog. He's Bo. His ears are walk. He's got this big old fat globule thing that we got to have the vet take a look at because that's just growing. But other than that, Bo is just being Bo. He likes to come hang out. So those of you who've been on stitching calls with me, you know Bo very well. So can I finish now? So also in the Frogwarts box, we always get some fabric. So this is the Pensive. And it's a beautiful like blue-gray. And this is from Laura's Fabrics. So I've never stitched on any of her fabrics, so I'm interested to get it to try this one. So this looks like it's a piece of 16 count. This is screaming Tiny Town. I don't know why, but that's what I'm thinking. And then we always get some floss. So every year, Color and Cotton has done some floss for us based on the Every Flavor beans. So this year, it's more of the red and gold theme. So we have Felix Felicis. We have Dobby Sock. We have Treacle Tart. We have Bombarda. And we have a Pumpkin Pasty. And then I always am enabled by my friends at Frogwarts and the prizes that other people get. So this year, the winners, so excuse the crinkling here for a second. The winners got these needle minders. And I said, I have to have it. So I immediately went on to Shepherd's Needle, or I think the only place I found it was Shepherd's Needle, and I ordered mine, and 5 minutes later they were sold out because we all jumped on. So Accoutrement Designs did a needle minder for each of the Hogwarts houses. And so since I am Team Slytherin, that is the Slytherin Common Room. And so this is definitely going to go on my Slytherin piece that I'm going to be starting in December for sure. So that was my Frogwarts haul from the box. And then during the weekend, I just, I participated when I could, but I didn't kill myself, so to speak, like I did last year to try to win it. So I slept when I wanted to, I ate when I wanted to, and I stitched when I wanted to. But I just want to give a handful of shout outs to the people that I hung out with. If they have a Flosstube, I am going to link it in the description so you all can go check them out and give them some love because they're all amazing. But I want to shout out to Liz, who is Stitched by Liz. She was the Slytherin MVP last year, and she and I had decided for similar reasons that we weren't going to compete this year. So it was nice to still be able to hang out and chat with her, but not have to worry about the stress of competing. So then I also got to meet Lisa from Paddock Lane Designs. I had been friends with her and kind of known of her, but to actually sit down and be able to chat with her was amazing. So she has a Flosstube as well. And then I got to talk to Becky, the Wisteria Stitcher. This was her first year doing Frogwarts, and she had a great time. And then shout out to Shan, who's on Team Slytherin with me and was our Quidditch captain this year. So she is stitching Sorceress on Flosstube. And then I also got to hang out with Kat from Cat Can Sew, Sarah, the Redneck Bifocal Stitcher, and Sam, who I don't think has a Flosstube, but I got to chat with them. I got to hang out with Felicity, who has a Flosstube, and then my friend Amy, who has Harpy Stitch on Flosstube. All of those will be linked below, and I know I missed people because I couldn't keep track of all the amazing people I hung out with. But suffice it to say, I had a blast, and just chatting with everybody and stitching and laughing and all the good things. So that was my Frogwarts stuff. Don't have to go into any big detail other than I stitched, and that's actually where my new start comes from. So let me show you. My one new start was the retreat piece for this year. And this is Frogwarts Year 6, designed by Katie Landis of the Black Needle Society. And here's what it'll look like. This is the first year that I have not finished the piece during the retreat. But because I was out of town, just like I got back from my cruise like the day before the retreat started, so I didn't get a whole heck of a lot done, but that was my progress. So that's my new start. So I was able to get in at least one stitch on every element, so it'll be some fill in for the next year. So my goal is to have this finished by Frogwarts Year 7, so a year from now, or finished during the retreat, because I'm going to be working on Frogwarts Year 7 during the retreat. So that was my one new start, and that's all I worked on during the retreat, because, you know, you work on the retreat piece during a retreat. And that lives in my Slytherin project bag that I got from CC's in Kansas City, Missouri, made by Stitchy Missy. So, thank you. And this holds both Frogwarts pieces, because I have all of them on one, but since I didn't stitch on it this month, you don't get to see it. Sorry. Alright, so those were my new starts, my finishes, my haul, Frogwarts. So I just need to do whips, shout outs, and August plan. So let's jump into the rest of my whips in absolutely no particular order. So these are the other projects I worked on this month. I don't have any stats for you, so if you're a stat person, it didn't happen this month. So one of my pieces is called for Whip Go as my whip down. So that's where I try to take projects that have less than 2,000 stitches on them and really work towards a finish. So this one is a kit that I got from Joann's, and it just live simply. And so this came, you know, the funny thing is when I bought it as a clearance kit at Joann's, it came with everything but the chart. So I had the floss, I had the needle, I had the fabric, but no chart. But thankfully I was able to get a hold of Jan Lynn, the company that made it, and they were able to send me the chart. So this is, hang on, I've got the floss is getting stuck here. So this is where I got up on it. So I'm really working on this border now. The words are in, and so I'm starting to get the green in, and then just really take it around. So this I'm at about 46% on this according to Pattern Keeper. And so this is actually, I'm taking this with me on the road tomorrow, and so I'm hoping that this will be a car finish or a retreat finish in Kansas City this week. Because once I sit down and work on it, it doesn't take too long. I just haven't had a chance to sit down and work more than 40 or 50 stitches in at a time. So, as I said, so this got a lot more love, and I'm hoping to be able to bring some more of the flowers down, and then down here is the vase. So that was Live Simply. Let's see. The next piece, this is no particular order other than this is the order that they got thrown on the pile. So my next piece lives in this project bag that came from the nice list from the Black Needle Society last year. I don't remember who the artist is, but it is perfect for holding Christmas at Hawk Run Hollow from Carriage Garden Carriage House. I keep calling it Cottage Garden. That's a completely different designer. Sorry. So I started this in December of last year, and my initial goal was to divide each box up into 4 pieces and to do 25% a month. So each box would take like 4 months to do, and then I'd be done in 4 years. But the first modification I made was I decided I'm not going to do these bottom 3 boxes because, first of all, that bottom one that says Happy New Year, that is 100% fill-in. And I also think this the 9 boxes with the I heard the bells on Christmas Day suffice. So that's going to be the one modification I make. But I got the first square done on time, and then, as I said, life has kicked in where I should have been done with the second square by... Yeah, so I should be done with the second square by now. But alas, I am not. But I still really, really love working on this. I work on this on the 12th of every month and on the 25th of every month. So here is where I'm at. So there is the full square one complete. And then this is where I'm at on square 2. Let me get that. There we go. So this one, if you hold it up to the light, I got, I started really getting the roof in. I have started, it's hard to see in the light. Let me see if I can fold it over and make it a little bit easier to see. I started working with the one silk I have, which is mint from the Thread Gatherer. Yeah, you really can't see the variegation on it. But this is pretty much going to be a full coverage square. So I am a little less than 50% on this. I am at like 35% on this. But that's okay. Every step forward is progress. So I just need to, next month is going to be a lot of just fill in on the house. And then I'm hoping to be able to bring over and get the rest of the square. So with any luck, I won't be too far behind on this one. So this will come back out again in August. And I'm hoping that when you see my next update, that you see at least some of the house filled in, at least, if not more of the snow. Like that's where that's where the snow is. So that was square 2 of Christmas at Hawk Run Hollow. Put that back in the bag. Oh, the next one is in this project bag from Virginia. The same lady who made my project bag out of curtains. I met her at Steel City, and these were her table gifts. She just makes project bags for the fun of it. She had a whole bunch of extra and said, here, pick one. So in here lives the Extraordinary Bird Stitch Along from Lola Crow. And so this is completely caught up. Last week was an off week, so I had a break on it. So there's 5 more releases, I think. So starting this Friday for the next 5 weeks, every Friday we'll get a new release. So I can show you. So let me show you. Here I am. I know that my ladies who saw me on the boat saw me stitching on this, and my friends that I met in Williamsburg saw me stitching on this. So the most recent releases here, I have to think on this one. What are the ones that you haven't seen since my last video? Are this, was it the Rhino Shoehorn? I don't know. But so you've got this bird, you have the peacock, and then I believe these 2 are the new ones that you haven't seen. But once again, I am absolutely in love with this. This is my first Lola Crow Sal, and I've kept up with it. I can't believe I've kept up with it. This is using the called for DMC, and I'm stitching this on 32 count vintage Stormy Night, I think. It was one of the suggested fabrics for the stitch along, and it's on an even weave, and I'm absolutely loving working on even weave. Although I gotta say that the back stitch, here, let me hold up. The back stitch on that tail was no joke, but it's done. So this will go with me to Kansas City, and the next release will be on Friday. And so again, my next update, you should see at least one more new bird, if not more. All right, then the next project I'm working on lives in this project bag from Lynn X Stitches Creates. So she is on Facebook, she is on Flosstube, and I believe she's on, I know she's on Facebook, and I know she's on Flosstube. Oh, just wants to get in the chair. Or just stand here to the side. So this is a Ruth Bader Ginsburg bag that she had done up for her birthday. And so in here lives Disagree from Rebel Stitcher Designs. So it says, we can disagree and still love each other unless your disagreement is rooted in my oppression and denial of my humanity and right to exist. True state. Facts. Absolute facts. So this tends to be the project that I'm working on when I do some sort of craftivism, or if I have to do some work at the DEM's office where I will have to sit there and man the office. Or if a bunch of us activists get together to engage in craftivism. So we're, sitting and crafting, or just pull it out when I feel like it. So I am stitching this using this variegated thread from Threadworks. It's purple and blue. And that's going to be the Quaker motifs. And then I haven't yet decided for the border. I've got these two colors, both anchor. I just haven't decided for the words yet. So I'm still working. I started this in May. And this is on a piece of 20 count something from Atomic Ranch Fabrics. And so this is my start. Not much, but it's, so this month I got the Harden, I got this motif in, and I got this motif in. And I'm absolutely loving how the variegation is shining through on this. And so this is one that's going to get some work. I can't guarantee I'll pull it out in August. But if there's ever a need for it, or if I'm sitting with my activist friends doing some work on it, absolutely. So that was Disagree from Rebel Stitcher. That's what it's going to look like when it's done. And I said at some point I'll figure out if I want to use blue or purple for the words. All right, and then the next, let's see, what else do I have? Got 4 border shape. So the next one lives in my Gilmore Girls project bag, just because it's a project bag. And I got this from one of the Stars Hollow retreats from Black Needle Society. And so in here is Local Conditions from Satsuma Street. This was in a Black Needle Society box back in November, I think it was. And so I started this January, the first week in January, and I kept up with it pretty well until, I overextended myself stitching-wise. So I've been keeping up with recording the temperatures in my hometown every day, but I haven't really done much stitching. Well, so this month I finally sat down and just said, I just need to at least get caught up to a month. So I finished up through March. So here is where I'm at. So the way that she does this is January, this is February, and then now this is March. And so I'm 5 months behind, 4 months behind, but each day is less than 25 stitches. I think the most I've had is 25 stitches. And so you record, what I've been doing is I've been recording the high temperature here in my town, which is Culpeper, Virginia. And then it corresponds to a chart she gives you. And then so it'll tell you, like, if the temperature was this, then you stitch that day in this color. And so eventually you'll get a pretty looking town with, the temperature variations for the year. So I'm hoping to get some more progress in on that in August. Maybe by the end of August I'll have April done. We'll see. But that's Local Conditions from Satsuma Street. All right, 4 more projects. So the next one is probably now my oldest whip. And so I didn't get nearly as much done on this as I wanted to, but like I say, you know, some progress is better than no progress. So this is Antique Fire Engine. I bought this as a kit from Walmart back in 2005, 2006. And I started it once and I completely messed it up, threw it away, and restarted this probably in 2015. So this is definitely my oldest whip by far. And so this month, I just was happy to start filling in. I did a little bit more back stitching and a little bit more of the background. So here's where I'm at. So this month, I was able to get the back stitching, or not back stitching, but I'm just bringing the background up. So I'm working kind of a page at a time at this point. So if I fold it in half, this is the half that I'm working on. So I'm going to get this whole half done and back stitched and everything, and then I can flip the paper over to continue that side. And so that is intended to be a present for my dad, who is a firefighter and collects antique fire trucks. And that's, when I saw this, that's exactly who I had in mind when I started it 20 years ago, and 20 years from now, I'm still working on it. So I think I have a target goal of wanting to finish it before September of 2027, which would be his 70th birthday. So I'd like to have this done for his birthday, if not before. So this is definitely going to be one of my focus pieces next year, and will come out again on my Whip Go board at least once more. So I'm hoping to get more progress in on this year. And then one of my other Whip Go calls was Bauble Birds from Boomerang Stitches. Sorry, Amity. I met Amity of Boomerang Stitches at StitchCon last year, and I watched her kind of finalizing the model of this and the pattern. And so when I saw this, I said, when you release it, I'm buying it. And so I did. And I started this last year. And I don't have a paper, so inserting cover photo somewhere around here. So this month, I was able to start. I already had the green ornament done, so I started this ornament. And I've made some good progress. I did go ahead and decide to make some substitutions because vintage Christmas ornaments had a lot of bling to them. They had a lot of tinsel. They had glitter. I should know I still have a lot on my tree. So I went ahead and, I don't know, you can see it. You can see some of the shininess in there. I'm substituting out the white for an étoile, and then for the colors in the red ornaments, I'm substituting silk lame braid. And then I'm actually going to probably rip out the strings, so the hooks here that are hanging off here. I'm going to rip these out and put them in these metallics. Because I've recently discovered silk lame braid, and I tell you, I absolutely love working with it. Absolutely love working with this stuff. So that is Bauble Birds. I am hoping to maybe get a little bit more done on this in the car, maybe, because I am at 400 stitches and my Whip Go goal was 600 stitches. So still have a couple days in July to finish it up. If not, this will come back out again for my 25 days of Christmas in December. Alright, and then the last two pieces are the Heaven and Earth Designs full coverage. So I did not get nearly as much progress on my pieces that were not part of the sale, so I'm only going to show you one. So these are still in the Q-Snap because I'm still working on this, so I might get some more done tonight, but this is my progress on Traveler's Window. So this is commissioned from artwork from Lars Stewart. And so this month, so the last two times I stitched, I was able to finish these two pages. So now I'm working my way over. So now this is how wide the next page is. So it was a lot of fast stitching because it's really the roof of the train to get over there. And then this will be like where the curtains for the window start. So as I go down, you know, you'll get, there should be a purse and some more, the back, and then the walls. So I'm going to be getting into some really interesting stuff the next time I pull this out. for the month. But this is stitched on a 25 count easy grid Lugana with 2 threads over 2/1 full cross. And then that, you know, because why not? There's my back. So I'm absolutely loving this piece. I started this in May of last year, literally on the day that I retired. Or I should say my last day of work forever, because now my husband and I are retired and don't need to work full time. So this was my present to myself for retirement day. Now the question is when will I ever finish it? All right. And the last piece is my progress on Steampunk Portal. This is from the Heaven and Earth Design Stitch Along. So for those of you who don't know, Heaven and Earth Designs decided to do a Stitch Along where if you signed up, you could pick one of 12 patterns, and then every 3 months they release 3 new pages. And then if you can stitch 6 pages in a year, you'll get all 12 patterns from the Stitch Along. If you finish the pattern, the whole thing, in a year, you get all 12 patterns, plus you get to pick a free pattern from their website. So I am behind on the release. There was a new set of pages released, new row of pages released July 1st, and I'm still working on the second row. But if I'm doing my calculations correctly, I am still on track to finish by December 29th, because I want to give myself an extra day or so of a buffer zone. So here's where I'm at. Forgive the parked threads. So I am now, so here is, you know, the last page. So this is still part 2. So these pages have been released, but I'm still working through here. Putting in an average of 250 stitches a day, sometimes more, sometimes a little bit less. But I'll just sit down and I'll just start working my way down. Just working my way down and then bringing it over, working my way down and over. I find this kind of a relaxing stitch, and now holding it back and being able to see it not up close makes me realize just how amazing those color blends are. Because up here, you know, there's a lot of 310 and 939 and 823 and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, but it makes it look so good. So that's Steampunk Portal. And those are my whips. I mean, man, I had a pretty prolific July. I haven't checked my stats yet, but I know last I had checked my spreadsheet, I'm hovering about 12,000 stitches for July, and I still have a few days left. But since I'm leaving, that's why I'm filming today. So when I talk about plans, let's talk about what's coming up between now and my next video. First of all, in a perfect world, I would actually like to try to film before the end of August so that I can have 2 videos in August. We'll see. But tomorrow, my husband and I are leaving for Kansas City, Missouri. We're driving out that way. And tomorrow night, stopping in Lexington to have dinner or meet up with my friend Amanda, who's Amanda_Stitches on Instagram. And then she's also going to Camp Black Needle. But we're on our way to the Black Needle Society's in-person retreat. So it's a murder mystery retreat this year. So this for me is kind of like a high school reunion, because I see these people all the time on our Facebook group and in our monthly video chats. But it's nice to actually be able to hug them, hang out with them. So I'm looking forward to going to that. So you'll get a full recap of that when I get back. The other cool thing is that football season is starting. Yes. And I am a huge football fan, for those of you who don't know. So Full Coverage Fanatics group on Facebook is doing a challenge called the Gridiron Grind. And so they pretty much, you assign a whip to your favorite team, and then you get to pick the stitches and how you're going to calculate them. So I decided to be extra because that's who I am. And so I'm going to pick one whip for my beloved New Orleans Saints and another whip for my Buffalo Bills, who are my second favorite team. So for my Saints, I am going to be stitching on Nola from Heaven and Earth Designs. And then on the piece for the Buffalo Bills will be Old World Map from Heaven and Earth Designs. So I'm hoping to make a good bit of progress in both of those. So the way I'm kind of calculating it out is each week, I'll watch the game. I'm not necessarily stitching on the project while I watch the game, But for every point they score equals 10 stitches. So if the Saints score 221 points, that's 210 stitches in a NOLA. If they get a win, it's an extra 100 points. So 100 points for a win, or 100 stitches for a win, 0 stitches for a loss. And then if the quarterback scores himself, no throwing touchdown, but if the quarterback himself crosses the goal line, that's going to be 50 stitches for every time that happens. And then if the defense scores or a special teams touchdown, which those are common but not as common as just regular touchdowns, that'll be an extra 50 stitches per touchdown. So conceivably, I could be stitching 500 stitches a week on each project. So made myself a little spreadsheet, so I'm looking forward to starting that come preseason, which starts next week. So I'll have, and also I have a piece that I've been stitching on while I watch the Saints game, so I should have a finish on that. I already mentioned I am going to Camp Black Needle this week, so expect a lot of haul and expect a lot of shenanigans to be talked about. And at the very end of August, I'm doing another online retreat with Shan from the Cross Stitch Society, and it's an online Star Wars related retreat. So I'm looking forward to hanging out with my friends there. Planning on continuing WhipGo. I have, I know what projects they are, but I don't have them written down, so I don't want to sit there and spoil it. But that's why you got to come back and watch and see, my next video to see what I've worked on, because I am carrying Steampunk Portal ahead into August, and I think of all the whips I have here, that's the only one that I think that you'll see again in August. Well, that and Christmas and Heartburn Hollow. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that those are going to be the only ones that you see in August, unless I have a finish on Live Simply. So, with that being said, I think if you've made it this far, last month you told me your favorite ice cream. This month, I want you to tell me either your favorite cross-stitch designer or your favorite place to visit on vacation. Because I know some people watch this and they actually don't cross-stitch. So in the comments below, tell me who your favorite cross-stitch designer is and or your favorite place to go on vacation. And until the next time we meet, remember, don't ever let anybody tell you what to do. You just go ahead and stitch your own stitch. Have a great day.